Live from London, this is BBC News. France's President Emmanuel Macron sits down with leaders in Beijing. We'll bring you the latest. Further confrontation between Israeli police and Palestinians at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen meets the Speaker of the US House of Representatives in California, angering Beijing.
I believe our bond is stronger now than at any time or point in my lifetime.
We go behind the scenes of the UK's first gambling treatment centre for women. Hello and welcome, I'm Luxmy Gopal. President Macron of France and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, are in Beijing, where they're holding talks with the Chinese leadership. The joint trip is the latest push by Europe to engage with China, and they're expected to urge it to use its influence on Russia to halt the war in Ukraine. This was a short time ago at the Great Hall of the People. The Europeans meeting China's Premier Li Qiang. In his first comments, President Macron said the visit would focus on economic ties as well as international stability. He and Ursula von der Leyen will also have talks with President Xi Jinping. That meeting is expected in a couple of hours. Well, let's go live to our Asia hub and speak to the BBC's Mariko Oy. Mariko, how significant is this meeting with China's president? Well, let's get some of the day's other news now. The governor of the US state of Missouri says it could take months for part of the region to recover after a large tornado. At least 5 people were killed in the storm when it hit Bollinger County, about 80 kilometers south of St. Louis. Researchers studying how ice sheets melt say their findings suggest Antarctica's glaciers could retreat much faster than previously thought. The study shows that ancient ice sheets melted at up to 600 meters a day. Police in Brazil have interviewed the former President Jair Bolsonaro. It's about his alleged attempts to bring jewellery worth millions of dollars into the country. The items were gifts from a Saudi prince. Mr. Bolsonaro said he never knowingly broke the law. Concerns have been expressed about patient care because of next week's 4-day strike by junior doctors in England. NHS providers, which represents trusts, said the challenges were unprecedented. There are expected to be widespread cancellations of planned treatments. London's Metropolitan Police says it has moved officers from tackling serious crime and terrorism to boost efforts to clean up its own workforce. Last month, a major review branded the force institutionally sexist, racist and homophobic. The head of the Met says hundreds of officers and civilian staff will be removed over the next few years. Helena Wilkinson reports. Around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News.
People are travelling again, heading back out on the road and rediscovering their wanderlust.
Exploring new destinations and cultures, making fresh friends and creating memories that will last a lifetime.
That's why at the Travel Show, we're expanding our horizons too. And wherever we go,
we want you to come with us. Now that might make for an awful lot of excess baggage, but we think you're worth it.
The Travel Show on BBC News.
You're live with BBC News. China has condemned a meeting between Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen and the Speaker of the US House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy, in California. Beijing said the US was breaching its commitments on Taiwan. McCarthy stressed the need to speed up arms deliveries to Taiwan. China, which has long considered Taiwan as part of its country, accused the US of seeking Taiwanese independence. Following the meeting, Taiwan's defense minister said a Chinese aircraft carrier and 3 Chinese warships had been detected 200 nautical miles off Taiwan's east coast. Now, coming up in a moment is Sally Bundock with your business news. In the meantime, you can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Luxmy_Chi. Speak to you later. Live from London, this is BBC News. France faces another day of pension protests after talks between unions and the government break down. This is the scene live in Paris as the demonstrations get underway. French President Emmanuel Macron sits down with leaders in Beijing. We'll bring you the latest. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen meets the Speaker of the US House of Representatives in California, angering Beijing.
I believe our bond is stronger now than at any time or point in my lifetime.
Hello and welcome, I'm Luxmy Gopal. More demonstrations are expected in France today over controversial pension reforms. Yesterday, talks between the French Prime Minister and unions resulted in deadlock. Nationwide protests against the pension bill are now into a second week. The French government has decided to raise the retirement age to 64. It had been 62. Some analysts believe the backlash is the most difficult political challenge Emmanuel Macron has faced as French president, and he's currently out of the country in China. Chris Page reporting there, and the documentary Troubles and Peace is now available on the BBC iPlayer in the UK. Now, I just want to bring you to Beijing now to show you some live pictures there at the moment. And as we've been saying, it is where President Macron of France and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, are at the moment ahead of a meeting that's due to take place within the next hour or so about talks with the Chinese leadership. The President Macron said the visit would focus on economic ties as well as international stability. So those are images live at Beijing there. That's it for now. Goodbye.
Hello there. As we head towards the Easter weekend, the weather story in Europe looks